Right, today's a very cool day. We've just been to Manthai. We've just had a fresh set of Cup 2Rs fitted to the OEM wheels. Now, the reason I'm saying OEM for the first time is that in a minute, we are going to do a back-to-back comparison with some ultra lightweight IPE Magnesium wheels and see how the unsprung mass and the general overall feel is compared with the OEMs. Now, as a spot of context, these new wheels, which I'll introduce you to shortly, are 26% lighter than these. Might not sound a great deal on camera, however, the benefits in braking, unsprung mass, rotational dynamics, the way that the suspension can react to undulations on the road, we are at the perfect track, the Nurburgring, one of the more bumpiest circuits in the world, and we're going to put them back to back to see what they're all about. Now, both of these wheels are going to have brand new Cup 2Rs on, both freshly fitted right here on the day. We've also given the car some new brake pads too. Now, these are Manthai's uprated pads, but we thought while we're here, we want to get everything fresh and everything new so that we can do as close a comparison to see if there's any differences out on track. So we're going to go out like this, and while we're at it, I'm going to introduce you to the new IPE exhaust. Okay, so lap one. Obviously, we know how these feel because we've done quite a lot of laps at the ring before on the OEM wheels and a set of Cup 2s. For those who haven't seen that video, welcome aboard. And we're now going to see what the new exhaust sounds like as well. Let's go. Sounding pretty good. So the idea of the day is weight saving. We've saved weight with the IPE exhaust, it's all titanium, and in a minute we're going to save weight with the magnesium alloys, but let's just see what it feels like as a refresher. You can definitely tell the difference in sound. It's not huge because it's retained the OPF, so it's still under warranty, but it's just got that extra lift that the standard system muted, while also shedding a load of weight, which is always a bonus in situations like this. And while we're doing these first few sets of corners, the idea is to get some heat into these Cup 2Rs. And then we've got to do the same in a moment with the new IPEs. That 9,000 RPM right on cam is just berserk. Sort of pace we're going to get over the brow. Oh, getting light there at 167 miles an hour. Proper machinery. Thank you. Bumpiest part of the track. Now, this is going to be really interesting because you can just see the traction control light coming on there in that bumpy section just before this dip and crest. One of the benefits, of course, of the lighter weight mags that we're going to experience in a minute is to see how the stock suspension responds to having less unsprung mass underfoot. The front end turning is absolutely ridiculous on these Cup 2Rs. Slowest corner on the ring, and it still feels like with all that lateral load you can carry on the temperature driven Cup 2R, it's just a remarkable feeling. I mean, what's quite amazing is you would never get out of this and go, do you know what this needs is improving. It's just phenomenal, but weight saving's a really big deal. The top line benefits of a lightweight wheel, would you say, is the majority of how the suspension reacts?
Well, through the weight of the wheel, if you think of the gyroscopic effect, if you've got a lighter wheel, less rotating mass, the car will turn better. You're going over bumps, it'll react quicker, everything is better. Like literally every component works better with less weight. There are times and places where it's important or not important. And I feel at the point where you've spent a reasonable amount of money on your GT3, that's a good upgrade. Especially, I mean, you've got, what, like 21-inch wheels, huge.
Yeah, 21's rear, 20 at the front.
The amount of weight to be saved there.
Yes.
The amount of rotating mass and where it is as well. You know, it's quite far out from the centre of the from the centre of the hub.
One of the things as well, which doesn't get spoken about, is the Cup 2R is also a lighter tyre too.
Yes.
So it's not like we're getting a nice lightweight wheel and then sticking a heavy tyre on it as a complete component.
The Cup 2R obviously is light and it does the everything, and you know, you pay for it.
If you think about the whole ethos of the RS is generally less weight, more power, more aero. So what we're doing here is kind of adding in some RS ethos. Lightweight titanium exhaust, we saved weight on that.
Yeah, saved some weight over the back of the car.
Last week, where it counts. And now we're going to add that together with lightweight mags, and we're going to see how it feels. I'm genuinely interested.
Speaking of the exhaust, how was the exhaust on track?
On track, under load, it is there.
Is it perfect?
It's great. We know it's OPF back, so it's not dramatic, but actually, as a track day car, you don't want it to be crazy.
No, it needs
because
to pass noise.
it needs to pass noise regs. So yeah, I actually think it's the perfect sweet spot. It's enough to take it away from standard.
You drop the windows going through a tunnel and it sounds
It sounds awesome.
And then cruise down the motorway and it's quiet. Come here and don't fail noise limits.
That's it. So all good. Right then, said physical wheel. Do you know what? It's really cool to have them off the car, just to give you a sense of scale. They are colossal. So the rears, they're 21 315s. They're a substantial
they're ridiculous.
block.
I mean, you know, when you stand next to it, it's a fairly chunky thing.
They are phenomenal though. Like when they get up to temperature, they're just ridiculous.
And if you don't overdrive them, they will last for days and days.
But look at this outer
edge.
edge. This outer section here is obviously the majority of the lean patch. Water displacement here and good times here. Right, when I say these are a fresh set of Cup 2Rs,
oh my God, that bit stayed on.
Oh, that's a 10th. There you go.
There you go, done. Perfect, in one swoop.
Here is the OEM factory fit. There you go. Then it's a decent piece of lump. That is a completely different ball game. So fresh Cup 2Rs this morning. This is the kind of wear that we've had from 3 laps. So they're basically scrubbed in. And we're now got a very brand new fresh set of Cup 2Rs on there. We're going to do the same thing. I'll go out, warm up laps, get the temperature in, come in, bleed some pressures, and then they'll be to the same spec as these, and then we'll go out on the full send lap and get a back-to-back feel to see what it's all about. Okay, wheels are on. That was actually really quick. Ben was actually correctly just saying this whole fear of the torque wrench is not a big deal at all. You can get them that like fold up and collapse away. So changing them in the car park's been cool. What we're now going to do as close to back-to-back comparisons as we can. Fresh Cup 2Rs on both OEM and the IPEs. We're going to go out, see if we can feel that unsprung mass. I know this is going to sound crazy, but I can already feel the weight difference in the wheel. I'm genuinely not just saying that. Like, it's really interesting. It's just got a lighter steering feel straight away. Now, of course, at higher speeds, that mass, it'll be interesting. It's very subtle. And if you weren't very familiar with the car, you might not identify it. But being familiar with the lap and the way the car feels under braking, it's actually under turning and braking, it feels like it slows down a little bit easier. I'm genuinely not just saying that. It's very interesting to be able to do this back to back. Crikey. I genuinely didn't expect that to be so noticeable so early. Now these are brand new tyres, so they still need a degree of scrubbing actually. It's there's just a sort of a dexterity to it that was not quite there with the OEMs. It's really surprised me. Right, this bumpy section here. Wow. Suspension effectively just reacts a little bit smoother. That is fascinating stuff. Just a wheel change. Wow, the hook up through there. It just rotates a little bit easier in all aspects really. Braking, I'm finding I can shed off a little bit more speed a little bit easier. The car stops just a little bit easier. And the way the whole nose and everything rotates. Being truthful, I think you'd have to be very familiar with the car to know that. But if you're looking for some interesting sort of incremental gains, good place to start. I absolutely love that corner. It's so good. It's positive camber. The formula of a good track car is, of course, less weight, more power, and when Porsche launches a car like a GT3 RS, a big selling point of that is the weight saving. So to be able to achieve some of that through these IPE components from exhaust and wheels is a really nice bonus to be able to find. weight as well. This corner here weirdly the trickiest on the track because it sort of has this invisible tightening over a brow, and if you're not aware it's coming up, it can catch you off guard every now and again. So here we are coming back around. Alright, so there we have it. Honestly, I'm so thankful that place exists. Like, there is no stretch of tarmac on earth like the Nurburgring. It's just phenomenal. Speaking of phenomenal, I'm genuinely surprised. I know obviously like weight saving is an advantage, but I didn't expect to physically feel it. Now, as I mentioned mid-lap, whether you could hear it or not, I'm not sure. But as I mentioned, because I'm fortunate to be so familiar with this car, it probably helped amplify the nuances which came about as a result of fitting lighter weight wheels. But genuinely, there is an actual feeling difference to the OEMs. But I guess it makes sense. If you have an RS product, they fit lighter weight components in order to benefit the overall performance of the car. The unsprung mass, you can really feel it. Like, you know, when you read it and you're like, that's why you have carbon ceramics and that's why you have magnesium wheels. It seems a bit top line and maybe a bit overly engineered for engineering's sake, but now I physically felt the result of that. I can honestly say it's the real deal. Small, but real. Under braking, you could feel it. Turn-in, the immediacy of the difference upon turn-in was fascinating. The overall feeling is it's just lighter on its toes. That is the sort of main takeaway. The way that it rides undulations, the way that the suspension reacts to the curbs, once again, nuanced, but it's definitely there. There's also a nice, I guess, psychological feeling that you know that you've taken 26% of the weight out of the wheels versus the OEMs, which is cool in itself. And then speaking of weight saving, titanium exhaust, also as it happens from IPE, sounds great, has maintained the decibel limit for track days. All in all, as far as componentry goes, I'm fully pumped on it. Now I just want to do a lot more laps. So thankfully, we're here for 2 days. Now, just before we go, we've just launched a second channel, JWW Uncut. And this is driven off the back of, well, people asking for more. And the general thing is, while we try and share as much content as we possibly can on the channel, we don't share 90% of what we actually do. We normally make these little productions about various adventures that we have, and the rest of it, all of the logistics and the life and the trials and tribulations, and I guess the reality of what actually takes place when we are filming these things is never shared. Now it is. So if you're interested in the Uncut, there's a link in the description below to that channel. Go and subscribe and you'll be the first to know when new content goes live. As always, thanks for watching, and we shall see you next time. Ciao.